It's not you. The rules for success just completely change. You don't have to be a genius or come from money to be successful in 2025. But that doesn't mean you should trust the advice you've been given. I'm David, and 13 years ago, I left my $2 million a year job on Wall Street because I could see the cracks in our system. Now, I run a business that makes $22 million a month selling air filters. So here's how to survive the collapse and make good money doing it. And the first sign of collapse is already here. Some data shows entry-level jobs are being eaten alive by AI, and that changes everything. Unemployment for new college grads for entry-level jobs is higher than it's been in decades. Some are speculating that's because companies are looking at all the manual spreadsheet work, stuff like that junior people used to do. And now they're realizing a senior employee with AI can do it way more efficiently and way cheaper. That bottom rung of the ladder, the one that gives people their start, is literally being pulled away. Senior jobs won't get filled tomorrow if nobody has a way to build the skills today. But here's the thing, that grind is the training. You learn how the system works from the inside out. You pick up patterns, judgment, and instinct that no textbook or YouTube video or AI tool could possibly teach you. That being said, because you're watching this video, I know that this is not a trap you are going to allow yourself to fall into. And in my opinion, here are the actionable takeaways that you or someone in your family can use if you find yourself in this situation. First, you need to be strategic about the first move. As Abraham Lincoln said, measure twice, cut once. Instead of aiming for a safe entry-level job, you need to think in terms of value creation. Ask yourself, what problems can I solve or learn to solve that AI can't? If you can combine the grit of solving physical, real-world problems with the leverage of new tools, you're not just avoiding obsolescence, you're building a moat. Next, you gotta stop waiting for permission. If the traditional entry-level ladder is gone, you've got to create your own entry point. That could mean freelancing, starting a small side hustle, joining a scrappy company where you're forced to wear multiple hats. Next, and probably most importantly, in my opinion, you need to be playing the long game. If the old ladder has been pulled away, the winners will be the ones who build their own staircase. Every skill that you stack today compounds tomorrow. The good news is, while the game might be changing, the beauty is you don't have to rely on gatekeepers anymore. But you have to be more proactive. That's why deep focus matters more than ever. I know a lot of people out there don't want to hear it, but office jobs are the new factory floors. My family was in the textile business and we saw all the textile jobs get exported overseas. That exact same thing is happening in white collar jobs today. AI also creates a lot more competition for these white collar jobs because it's quickly upskilling cheaper freelancers overseas. The real danger right now is falling into what I call career tar pits, paths that look smart on the surface because maybe they look smart 20 years ago, but they actually keep you stuck. Take law school, for example. People go 6 figures into debt thinking they're buying security. But most of the actual work young lawyers do is document review, contracts, research, tasks that AI is already eating alive. Is it useful? Sure. But when AI can spit out a deck or a financial model in seconds for essentially free, the foundation of your career just got pulled out from under you. There are still fields where college has a clear return on investment. Things like medicine or engineering. Paying $250,000 for a sociology degree is financial suicide. If you do in fact want to go the college route, you want to have the lowest debt load possible. And preferably, it needs to be tied to a program with hands-on training or a direct career pipeline. Otherwise, you're just prepaying for skills that expire before you ever cash in on them. Everyone on YouTube will tell you that you need to learn this skill or you need to learn that skill, but the reality is the future is for generalists. I know people who made millions of dollars flipping NFTs in 2021. They thought they had built empires, but within 18 months, most of that paper wealth vanished. The market moved on, competition flooded in, and the moat was gone. A lot of them ended up back at square one, scrambling for the next trend. I've been there myself. In the mid-90s, I was developing websites for restaurants. Nobody else was doing it, so I could charge real money. There was a rush of money in the beginning, but without fail, it always got competed away. And when that happens, you find yourself on a hamster wheel of reinvention. So how do you tell a fad from a durable business? A fad usually feels exciting because there's easy money at the start. If the only reason the business works is because you're early, it's a fad. If the demand would still exist 10 years from now, whether you're early or late, that's a foundation. It's better to build something stable today that compounds for decades than to chase what's hot and start over every time the music stops. So when you're evaluating what to work on, ask yourself 3 questions. First, does it solve a timeless problem? People will always need things like clean air or housing, food, healthcare, logistics. Second, does it build an asset, customers, infrastructure, reputation, things that compound in value over time? You want to be in businesses that you have the ability to compound customers, to be able to compound your infrastructure, to be able to compound your reputation over decades. And third, does it produce stable cash flow? I truly believe that cash flow is the secret to a happy life. But when you're doing this, you got to make sure this isn't just cash flow that spikes in the good times. You want to build a predictable money machine that endures. So now that you know how to spot opportunities, these are the 4 keys to finding a career that lasts. The way out of the cycle is to think like Warren Buffett. Stop chasing fads and anchor yourself in industries that will still matter in 20 or 30 years. When I was at Goldman Sachs, I looked at myself 10 years ahead and thought, this won't last. The jobs I was doing were already paying less than they had just a decade earlier. So I pivoted into air filters because 20 years from now, people will still need clean air. That's an evergreen business model. So how do you actually spot timeless industry? The first sign is that they solve a basic human need. Again, things like food or housing, transportation. People aren't gonna wake up in 20 years and decide they don't need those things. The second sign is that the need doesn't get fully disrupted by technology. It just evolves with it. We don't farm or manufacture the same way we did 100 years ago, but we still need to eat and we still need products. And the third sign is durability through cycles. Look at industries that survive recessions. People might cut luxury spending, but they don't stop paying the electrical bill. If the demand survives the down cycles, you're looking at something timeless. This is where Buffett's 20 years ahead test comes in. You ask yourself, will people still need this product or service 20 years from now? And if the answer is yes, then the skill or business you're building is compounding. If you want to be rich, meet boring people. Leverage doesn't always come from being the smartest person in the room. A lot of times it comes from showing up in ways that most people just won't. In my opinion, it's proof that even in the most old school industries, networking and association work creates real leverage. Most people want what they see on YouTube. They want to be the keynote speaker, the star deal maker, the person with their name on every project. Very few people want to sit on committees, take meeting notes, or organize the boring stuff. But when you're the one that's actually willing to do that work, you're in the rooms where decisions get made. And that's how you build disproportionate leverage. So if you want to start building influence in your industry today, here's something extremely specific you can do. Find your trade association, join it, and volunteer. Don't just pay the dues and sit back. Actually raise your hand, offer to plan an event, serve on a committee, or write a position paper. That one simple step will put you shoulder to shoulder with the people who run the companies that you want to learn from. You want to transform your life? It's a 5-letter word: sales. I had to learn sales the hard way as a CEO. Every entrepreneur eventually realizes they're selling to customers, investors, employees. You're selling all the time. Those are durable skills that AI will never replace. I have a full video, in fact, on sales and persuasion, so subscribe to see that. The reason sales is timeless is because it teaches you lessons that you'll never get in a classroom or from a certification. When you're selling, you're learning how to deal with rejection, how to persuade someone face to face, how to read body language. No textbook can simulate that. So what's stopping you from going out and building those skills this weekend? Absolutely nothing. Only your lack of action. Think of something as simple as power washing. You can buy a $200 power washer, go knock on doors, and suddenly you're in business. You're practicing your sales pitch face to face. You're building resilience with every no and making money while you do it. It's the best kind of side hustle, one that builds your bank account and your skill set at the exact same time. If even after all of this, you're feeling lost, just the fact that you're watching this means you're gonna be okay. The blessing and curse of today is that information is everywhere. It's free, abundant, easy to access. If you're interested in something like farming or homesteading, you can go deep, learn the ins and outs, and build a unique perspective that others don't have. But the key is to combine that interest with commercial skills like marketing or operations. That's how you take a personal rabbit hole and make it into something that's commercially viable. The thing is that curiosity is free, but the real edge comes from turning it into skills that compound and value that lasts. If you've watched this far, you're already ahead of 99% of people. Now, let me show you the exact high income skills I'm hiring for today.